Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equities Story. I'm with the Wolf, and this is just a general share advice and not personal advice. Wolf, what are you doing? I thought you got your jacket on.
It's cold, but
What?
I'm sort of like I don't know. I mean, it's just a cold, miserable, and I'm looking at what's next to come because the market's fairly like nah. So I'm looking at Wednesday, and we've got the inflation numbers, Dave. So I'm
even more miserable.
Yeah, exactly. I'm probably could be maybe more miserable, maybe actually be cheering. I don't know, but big risk event coming up in the middle of the week. Maybe that's why the markets are sort of like not sure what to do.
Well, can I ask you a question? Are we, is it a different situation in Australia? Are we sort of tracking? Are we 2 or 3 months just behind the Americans?
Maybe. Obviously, their inflation is much better than ours, but maybe that also is because they are, a very different country in a very different region. Being isolated here in Australia, it's got its good points, of course, where we're oblivious to what's happening around anywhere outside of Australia. But then again, if there's troubles around the globe, very, very difficult to be part of the system and have normalcy coming through. So look, I think there's a bit of both, and we still got a long way to go, much further than the US. So potentially we could be seeing at higher interest rates for longer than the US.
Right. Okay. That wouldn't be good, and obviously interest rates going higher is not going to be good for the market.
No.
All right, Wolfie. On that, saying that,
yeah.
There have been some announcements out today, and you picked out a number. We're going to have a look at them. And firstly is PLS, right?
Yep.
Per bar, which at one stage looked pretty dire actually in February, March. It looked potentially like it was going to go a lot lower. It's sort of recovered now. It doesn't look like I wouldn't be trending this. In fact, I don't think I'd be owning it. There's a few reasons, because it doesn't pay a dividend. It just doesn't look like, to me, it just looks sideways now for maybe 6 or 7 months. But it's holding up, isn't it, at least?
Yeah, and maybe it should hold up, because if you look at the numbers coming out of the quarterly today, even though the prices they received were much smaller, so I think about 33% lower than previous corresponding periods, but they've increased the production by about 60-something%, reduced costs as well. So, all in all, you look at it and they're still swimming in cash. So they're adding to the cash position. So I think at the end of the day, if you're in this, there's still hope for you that if things stabilize, they're going to be doing okay, and pay you that little dividend.
Yeah, they've got a little dividend, haven't they? Like 2.5%, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
But when you look at that, and you look at it's trading about 8.5 times. Is that correct, or is that a little bit?
Look, it could be right. Remember, these guys are just ramping up, right? So it could be one looking backwards and saying, okay, well, could be very, very different next time around. But at the end of the day, you're probably more punting, because we never look at the P's on Rios and BHPs and everything. We're more interested about dividend plays.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Really, if you're going to have a stock like this, surely you're just better off with BHP, right? Giving you 8.5% dividend rather than PLS that's giving you 2.5%.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for dividends, unless you think that Pilbara is going to double their production again, right? So maybe do like an FMG, just keep doubling production every couple of years, which means bigger cash flows and bigger dividends coming through, right? So that's the only way I can think you could be in PLS at the moment versus something like a BHP. I agree.
All right. Okay. Thank you much. And let's have a look at Monadelphous, because they had a really good move up last week, and the people in the know knew something.
Yeah, they did. It was funny because I remember yesterday, or the day before, one of the brokers downgraded M&D to a sell. So down she went $12.15, and back down up she goes with a nice big contract win in WA with Kemerton of about 200 million. So yeah, look, this is why it's very remember I said on my weekly wrap, not to focus too much on the 1 day movements. When you've got a broker, downgrading you, and you go, oh my God, my stock is down, and then you go, it bounces it again. So short-termism, you've got to sort of look at the bigger picture, because normally the bigger picture always wins out.
little gold producer in Africa, not little, quite a big one actually.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a downturn ever since August really last year. I mean, it's just struggled, hasn't it? It was one stage it should have gone on with it. It hasn't. And where gold's been doing well, this one hasn't performed well, Wolfie. And how was their quarterly activities report?
Well, I think they've pretty much reiterated everything they've said previously. To the guidance was pretty much hit. See, they're saying even here on track for 2023 guidance of 210 to 230,000 ounces of all-in sustaining costs of 1,175. One of the cheaper producers that's listed in Australia, because of course they know in Australia they are mining over in Africa. So look at that, Dave. I mean, again, I have never had a problem with this company. I think this is quite good. The only problem was it is in Africa, and probably the reason why it hasn't gone on, there's been some issues in the African country they're in. So you know, it's one of those things that it's only for the high risk takers out there.
Yeah, all right. Well, which African country are they in?
I think they are they in Mali, I think, or Burkina Faso. Let me just double check that. They are. Oh God, some of these get my head in.
Burkina Faso.
Okay, Burkina Faso. There you go. So, yeah, look.
No, I mean, that's okay. They only boil you and eat you alive there.
West Africa at the moment is a little bit of a problem area. I remember back when I was still in my diapers doing mining type research. West Africa was safe as houses. It's completely different now, Dave. The West African have been taken over by the extremists, Wagner. So it's just like, forget it. It's very difficult.
And I suppose that's the sort of place Wagner would really enjoy playing around with.
Absolutely. No, because there's lots of gold they can steal.
Okay. All right. BOE.
Yeah.
One of your preferred uranium play.
Yeah.
If you're going to play uranium, is it still your preferred uranium play?
I mean, again, today was a fairly reassuring announcement saying that they are on target to produce next quarter. So we're almost there, and they're on budget, right? So I mean, usually it's a big tick because I tell you what, I'd reckon probably about 80% of companies they are slightly over budget or well over budget because it's just inflationary period where it's just difficult to sort of manage that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So it's nice to see something that's going quite fairly well. But again, the end game here for me is can they produce profitably? Because we've seen Paladin producing in Namibia for about 5 years, didn't make one single cent, right, for 5 years. So they've wasted 5 years of production with zero to show for it, and then pretty much lost a lot of their project itself to outside parties, and the rest is history.
Yeah. All right, but
still good to trade if the uranium price is going. So I still got fairly, top of my list of uranium stocks.
Yeah, you know what, Wolf? I've got a funny feeling if uranium could do a bit better, it's actually really quite good price action because it's sort of following in this exhaustion pattern, but it's only just still hovering around that $3. If this turns, this could have that leg up to 350. But it's not over. It's not over yet. Let's have a look at MAD because they came out today with market guidance exceeded again. That's incredible. I think Wolf's just frozen. Oh my gosh! All right, he has just frozen. I thought he was just trying to show me his good side. So just wait 1 second, and he'll be back on in a second. All right, Wolf's back. He froze. Yeah, I thought you were just ignoring me. You're like looking the other way. I thought, oh, what have I said to offend him? Or I thought you were just posing because I know you prefer the right side of your face, but no, you've frozen, Wolf.
No, I ignore you. That wasn't
mad again. Yeah. Another upgrade.
Oh, I know. I tell you what, when you're onto a good thing, you stick to it, right? I mean, how many times have we talked about upgrade cycles and stick to the story? Look at that chart. And most charts are fairly similar when you've got an upgrade story, because we do have evidence of that. So look, the question is, was it a big enough upgrade to push this higher $6, $7, right? I think eventually with time, yes, because I can still see further upside to the story. But are the market prepared to pay now 30 times, 40 times for the story? And that's maybe not so much. So maybe we need just a period of consolidation around the $6, $5.50 to $6, maybe a little bit more. And then we'll have another go at this. But look, if I'm in this long term, Dave, I'm not selling.
All right. SDV.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, an old fav, which has had a really tough last 2.5 years. Well, really tough actually. It's down sort of 70%, and it's still struggling, and can't get over trend. It's up today 8%. Well done, but what's going on, Wolf?
Like you said, it's still an old fab, and it still probably is in there somewhere on my watch list, right? When you look at it, receipts from customers, 95 million for the 12 months. So it's not as a little tiddler, 2 million revenue here and 2 million revenue there. 95 million revenues, Dave, right?
And trading at 60 million market cap.
Is
that all the shares? I don't know if it's all of the shares.
Yeah, it is. It is all the shares. So it's still flying under the radar, and probably the only reason I can think of flying under the radar is on 95 million should be making a profit, and it isn't. Right, that's probably the only reason why it's still languishing. They need to tighten up the business and pretty much get the profitability in this. You can't be $100 million plus business and not make a profit. It's just doesn't cut it with investors out here. So while they're cash flow positive, they need to be profitable. Pretty simple as that. I still like the company. I still think they've got a lot of interesting products, and they can service with that MaxiFlox, OptiFlox, PFAS, water treatments, whatever, right? It sounds like it runs by a good guy. So at the end of the day, all boxes are ticked except that big one, profitability. So once they demonstrate that, I think that maybe go to the races.
All right, well, let's hope so. Wolfie, the market's looking a little bit tough today. I think, what you said, maybe a few nerves before tomorrow. Not much buying. Everyone sort of maybe a little bit wait and see. The worst 3 charts that did look good. I wouldn't be maybe MRM. If it looked like this by the end of the week, you maybe look to buy it. Maybe it goes to 140. You had DHG looking extremely good on REA. A little bit of risk in both those ones because they've been doing well because because I'll tell you what, CPI numbers are bad tomorrow. I mean, they could get affected.
Other insiders know something, and they're buying REA and DHG as a proxy.
I don't know. What the RBA
theories are coming through?
Are the RBA getting drunk at their board meetings and spilling the beans? So
exactly.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But there, 3 good-looking charts, and we've actually sort of really liked our REA ever since that buy signal, and it's actually going up quite nicely. And I think even little DHG had a little buy signal, didn't it, not long ago, and it's working its way up and looks very, very good. So if those inflation numbers are good tomorrow, they could go on with it. On that note, Wolfie, there really isn't much to talk about apart from those announcements today and those sort of 3 decent-looking shares. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before you?
No, look, I think it's again fairly quiet. The big thing also, apart from the CPI numbers, I'm going to look at the calendar just to give everyone an idea what's happening. Is big end of the week. It's going to be massive news on company news, and it's in the US quarterlies. You've got Microsoft coming up on Thursday, and also we've got Google coming up on Thursday. So again, we could have volatility. We could see the tech space thrown around a bit, depending what they come up with. So just don't like a bull in a China shop. I think it's caution about this week. Let's see how it all pans out.
All right, brilliant. By the way, Wolfie, if you want to cheer yourself up, there's a new movie out called, is it Barbie Girl?
I think it's called Barbie.
Barbie. Is it just called Barbie? Right.
I think so.
Well, because last night it was interesting. I went to have a look. That there's a new craze is that everyone that's going is dressing up as a Barbie. So I was driving down the road. There were guys, girls, everyone dressed up as Barbie.
I think it just shows the state of the Hollywood, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you should go. I'd like.
But Barbie is like the most loved movie of 2023.
I
God
think
help
you,
us all.
I know, but I think you should go and take a photo. We'd love to see you dressed up as Barbie.
Oh my God.
I think that would be an image that would stay with us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, it would be for the rest of my life too. I wouldn't never live it down.
All right, Ken. Have a good have a
Thanks,
good day.
Barbie.
All right, tonight, 7 o'clock. We got
Yes,
live.
join us, please. Let's
All
talk
right.
shares.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, mate. Bye. Bye.